as an Albertan, and Mr. Chair, you're also an Albertan, so I'm not sure how you feel about the fact that this government continually attacks Alberta and singles Alberta out as if somehow everything would be fine if only Alberta did this or if only Alberta did that. Because there are actually abandoned wells right across the country. There are abandoned wells in most provinces that have ever had oil. And yet we're not actually even talking about that. We're simply, this motion is only looking at Alberta. And this process that was brought forward, the $1.2 billion or $1.7 billion program, was brought in during COVID, and it was as much about job creation, as per an Auditor General's report from the province of Alberta, as it was about cleaning up orphaned wells. One of the things that Alberta did that was really interesting, but it wasn't as simple as perhaps what Saskatchewan's solution to this was working with the First Nations and having the First Nations Site Rehabilitation Program. And the program really involved First Nations. It did things in a very innovative way, allowing them to be partners in prosperity. There were direct impacts to Indigenous communities, and it's interesting, I know at the government operations, they're currently looking at Indigenous procurement. The program that the government of Alberta put forward met all of the Indigenous procurement requirements and exceeded it, and there were many benefits to community as a result of this. So there were environmental benefits, but there were also benefits to many communities. And so I'm going to read off some of the community benefits here, because this wasn't something the government of Alberta had to do. This was something the government of Alberta chose to do because it was the right thing to do. And it wasn't within their jurisdiction. It was actually within the jurisdiction of the federal government. Right. The federal government didn't require this, but the government of Alberta knew that it was the right thing to do, so they chose to do it. In the Cold Lake First Nation, they utilized several
Ms. Goodrich, we have a point of order. I'll ask you to hold 1 second. Mr. Bruceson, go ahead on your point of order.